Hello, everybody. Ms. Colwell here, and today we are going to be talking about the economy of China. But before we get to that, we're going to quickly review the different types of economies. We've talked about these before, but just as a refresher, we've got the traditional economy, which is based on the trading of goods. So this was done before most societies had a currency. So you might trade a chicken for some grain. So you would trade an item that you had for an item that you needed. And in this way, resources were shared. The command economy is based on government control. So the government controls all the businesses, they set the prices, they set the wages, and the government uses all the resources or owns all the resources, and they are often used for military. Next, you have the mixed economy, where individuals own most resources, but the government owns some resources. So the government might control industry, but then individuals might be able to have their own businesses to create other types of items. So individuals will decide what to produce, but the governments make the laws to make the products safe. So it is a combined, or it is mixing the command and the market economic systems. So the market system is an economy based on individual and business decisions. So an individual can own their own private business. They decide what they want to make, they decide what prices they want to charge, and they decide what wages are paid for their employees. So the prices and wages are based on supply and demand, and which is how much is bought and how much is sold. So these four types of economies can be divided up into three types of economic systems. We've got the free enterprise system, which we've talked about the most. It is also known as capitalism, free market, and a market system. And with this type of system, you've got individuals and private organizations own and operate their own business. They determine the production and distribution of goods and services. Socialism, the state, being the government, owns and operates many of the businesses and services, but private ownership is allowed. And then with communism, which is a command economy, the state, being the government, owns all of the businesses and controls the distribution of goods and services. So now let's take a look at how this works for East Asia and then specifically China. So trade ended along the Silk Road in the 1400s as the age of exploration began and the world became more connected. Today, the economies of East Asia are no longer traditional economies. They have modernized and advanced into one of three types of economic systems. Those being the free enterprise, or the market economy, socialism, or the mixed economy, or communism, where it is a command economy. In China, in the 1940s, under Mao Zedong, communists took control of China and established a command economy. The Chinese government claimed ownership of all the factors of production, and private ownership of property was made illegal. However, the Chinese economy was not strong. Beginning in the late 1970s, China's leaders began increased private ownership and investment. The beginnings of China's economic model can be traced back to 1978. That year, Deng Xiaoping began a series of economic reforms. As China's new leader, Deng helped end decades of isolation. He wanted China to modernize its economy. Over the next 4 decades, China grew rapidly. The World Bank labeled its development the fastest sustained expansion by a major economy in history. Under Deng's leadership, China attracted foreign investment. China was still a state-run communist country. Slowly, though, the government allowed the role of the market to increase. Still, the state kept a heavy hand in the economy. By 2000, economic output and living standards had improved dramatically for many Chinese. In 2001, China earned entry into the World Trade Organization and promised to open more markets in many different industries. It gave other countries hope that China was on a path toward reducing the state's role in the economy. Today, large government-owned enterprises control certain sectors. They include energy and banking, where China's government controls many of the big banks and oil, gas, and coal companies. But 9 in 10 new jobs come from the private companies. In 2018, Chinese state media reported the private sector drives most growth in gross domestic product, or GDP. The Chinese economy is now a blend of systems. On the one hand, the Chinese government controls many resources and industry, being the communist system. However, it also allows entrepreneurs to ride private businesses in a market system. This is considered a mixed or socialist economy.